Alright, take two. Didn't realize my hair was a mess the first time I shot this. Today's video is going to be a bit different than my normal videos. No cutting mat and not just hands. Today I'm going to show you the beginning of this. A bit of a backstory. I wanted to design a seasonal PCB, and this started last year when I planned to do a Christmas PCB. But then Christmas came and no PCB. So I thought, what about Valentine's Day? Well, Valentine's Day came and no PCB. So what about Easter? Nope, same problem. So I decided to aim for a season that is more than just 1 or 2 days. In this case, spring and summer. Now spring's gone, but summer's still here. I wanted to design something that would actually be used more than once and maybe even put on display somewhere. So I designed a PCB on a stick. Actually, it's not just a stick, it's a stand. And in another video I will show you a bit about how I made the stand. But today's video is mainly about the design of the PCB and the front, because that's where the pretty lights are. In this video I'm doing something new, which is a voiceover. Now this is not where I shine, but I thought it would suit the video a lot better. So as one of my favorite YouTubers says, sit back, relax and enjoy the video. I started by designing something that looks like a sunflower in Inkscape, and I spread the design out over different layers so I could import them in my EDA as different layers. In my EDA I made a schematic using an ATtiny 1604 to drive 19 WS2812B LEDs. I also added some additional features which I will cover in another video. In the PCB design section of my EDA, I imported the previous made vector images to different layers of the PCB, making sure I'm using the same unit on importing as I did on exporting from Inkscape. For this PCB I used PCBWay. I entered the board dimensions and the quantity I wanted, chose yellow solder mask, and as the surface finish I chose immersion gold. And then it was off to the factory where PCBWay does its magic. After a quick turnaround and a just as short shipping time, it was time to admire the resulting PCB. I also ordered a stencil because I wasn't planning on hand soldering 190 WS2812B mini RGB LEDs. The odd combination of yellow solder mask and immersion gold finish makes for a beautiful PCB. I placed the stencil rather awkwardly over the PCB and got out a fresh tube of solder paste. Because I do not want to expose the LEDs to more heat than necessary, I used a low melt solder paste. I also baked the LEDs for 48 hours at 70 degrees to reduce the risk of cracking them when it was time to reflow them. I placed all the LEDs on the PCB and I discovered my first mistake on the board. On the footprint, pin 1 is marked, whereas in reality pin 3 is marked. After that it went rather quickly and I was ready to place all the decoupling caps on the back of the PCB as well as the microcontroller. In my next video I will make a stand for the PCB and also explain in a bit more detail what other features the board has. For now, thanks for watching, and thanks to PCBWay for making this PCB possible.